So I think that for the longest time, I've been unintentionally a Casey Neistat copycat. Just let me explain.
You are now in the mind of.
For the last couple of weeks, I've been waking up at 6 a.m. It's 7:50 in the morning right now. Now this wasn't for New Year's resolution. I didn't end the year off and be like, it'd be really cool to wake up at 6 a.m. I was very focused. There just weren't enough hours in my day. I was making content for YouTube, I was editing a short, I was submitting for telefilm, and then I had my job. And two very great filmmakers inspired me, Matt Davella and Levi Allen. I'll link both of their channels in the description. Matt Davella is like a minimalist filmmaker. You might have seen his film on Netflix. It's Minimalism. It's like a documentary. And then Levi Allen does like adventure filmmaking work. Why is this important? It's because for the past little bit, I've been really self-reflecting on my work. Not my recent work as much as my overall work, like some of the vlogs and some of the other videos that I've been doing since day one. Really psychoanalyzing myself. And I came up with some very interesting ideas, and I thought that you guys might want to hear some of it. So today is going to be a quite interesting day because we do have a lot of things to do today. I'm shooting a video for a gig that my friend is doing. He's the same person that's featuring on the first episode of the Artists Spotlight series. I don't know if I'm going to call it that, but that series. And I also wanted to get B-roll of the event for the episode. So it kind of was like a two birds, one stone situation. However, before we get to that, I wanted to talk about the difference between the commentary on influence from the narrative world versus the YouTube world. Because if you watch a lot of films, narrative films, you can see that people like Tarantino or just about every filmmaker, you can trace their influence back. At times it's hard to see, but at times it's very clear. It's very evident. Like Tarantino, you can see where that's coming from. So what's interesting is even though you can see where it's coming from, each of their films still feel unique. They still have their own thing to it. So why is it that to me, when I'm looking at my old vlogs, did I feel like I was coming across like a Casey copycat? And this is not me submitting to hate or something else. This is me being very self-reflective and trying to be very objective. And I think that's what it was. I think my old vlogs weren't great. They were pretty shit. But I think there's something even more than that. And that's kind of what today's all about, is having that discussion that I feel like no one's really gotten to the bottom of, where what is the reason? Because there were a lot of like people on YouTube that emulate other people in a way that is past anything that anyone else does in any other art form. And what I mean by that is it's something beyond just the copying of the shots and technicality and the editing. I think it goes beyond that. Know that I'm not directly talking about anyone. Video is, and where I might use pronouns and words that might suggest I'm talking about more than just me. Know that this video is very much about me. It's all about me. I don't know anyone enough to be able to talk to them. However, if you were in a place like me or like I was a few years ago, then know that I'm not making this to shit on anyone. I'm making this for you to realize why it is you might be feeling the way you're feeling. Because I think that, sorry, I kind of put it on top of my, just give me 1 second. Can't actually see myself. YouTube is the closest form of modern reality, like a reality TV show, except it's not about the drama, or maybe it is. But I mean, in the presence of like vlogs and stuff like that. And so I like the new shift. I like the new shift of filmmakers that are coming out. The Dan Maces and the Peter McKinnons. Because I think what they're doing with the platform is reinventing it in a way past what just Casey did. Because what Casey did was unintentionally set up the next generation of filmmakers for failure. I think what he does is absolutely spectacular, but I think he came at a point in time where he was way ahead of the game, and as a result, it directly negatively affected anyone else that was inspired by him, and I just happened to be one of those people. I don't make coffee right, so, and what I mean by that is like the process is that like one of those fancy things. I'm too lazy to use the steamer, so I'm not like just using boiled water because the water in the machine isn't hot enough. While that works, let's just kind of get this set up. I think what's interesting is a year or so ago when I was working with a couple of filmmakers, and I think whenever I'm working with filmmakers that are starting out, I mean, I'm starting out, but especially when you're just starting out, you get into this phase where you'll watch something and then you'll be so moved by it, you'll want to be that person. I think that the difference is now I still have that, but I'm more aware of it. Like, for instance, I watched Dan Mace's videos. It made me be like, okay, this video that I'm shooting, I gotta go out, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. And I think that there's still a lot to take from his stuff, where his whole philosophy on shot list and planning is something that I'm very familiar with, and something that that's like my mantra is plan right, really be aware of what you're shooting. And I want to make a video specifically about that, the whole philosophy of that, but we're losing the point. Going back, I think that watching a lot of Casey's content, a lot of that happened. And I think that specifically going back to my comments on the unintentional negative effect of Casey Neistat, because he's a fantastic filmmaker, is when he came out, it was still a time of vloggers rule, and I think now it's shifting to filmmakers rule, at least from my perspective. Again, I guess for me, I'm a filmmaker, so that's what I see, but I think that in the film space, that's what I mean. I think in the film space, when Casey was around, it was vloggers. Like, that's the only thing that people had. And I think now with filmmakers like Levi Allen and filmmakers like Casey Neistat, Dan Mace, Matt Davella, and there's so many more that have transcended just vlogging into like making art on the platform of YouTube. And I think that looking at it now, that's a platform that I really love, and that's an environment that I am just excited to be a part of. But going back to it, I feel like the old Kizzer, the Kizzer that was making the vlogs, he saw Casey's videos and he didn't just see the technicality and the shots. And I think that that's the type of influence that filmmakers, narrative filmmakers, see other filmmakers and use. Like, I'll watch the new Star Wars, and if they do an interesting shot, I'll be like, that shot's really cool. I wonder what I can take from it. There's nothing much more other than themes and shots and stuff like that. Do you get what I mean? Like, I think anything past that and it starts to disrupt your artistic touch. And I think that for me, watching Casey stuff, I think that why I felt like I was a copycat was because I was seeing that lifestyle. I was seeing someone so entertaining and someone doing so much that I had to be like that. Because if I wasn't, then as a filmmaker, was my life worth it? Because I felt like that if I was a filmmaker, I had to have this exciting life. And I don't think that was so conscious. I think that was very subconscious. I think that it was a subconscious desire of mine to have a life and have a story worth telling. That if I wasn't riding the boosted board, if I wasn't zipping by, doing interesting things, having meetings, making stuff, showing that stuff, it wasn't worth telling. And what's scarier for me was that I felt like anything interesting that I was doing, I wasn't doing it to do it. I was doing it to show on a vlog. And I think the video that Casey made about short skirts and ripoff artists really scared me, really scared the 19-year-old me into stopping vlogging. I know that it might have been just made for certain big YouTubers that were copying his style, but for me, that was Casey telling me. That was Casey being like, dude, why are you stealing my style? Why don't you go be original? I think after that I stopped vlogging because it terrified me. And I don't think I had the lifestyle for it. I don't think that my life was interesting enough. I don't know. I think it's pretty interesting now, but I don't think it was interesting enough back then where I would be able to do that. I think that there was many days where I was just sitting around doing nothing and I felt like I was being worthless. And so I had to create this sense of content around me, this sense of fakeness, which actually is very interesting because it was fake. I think that that's what it is. I think most of us, I think that there's times where you're able to borrow it on an interesting day. And I think that's why like some of the big people are able to borrow his styles because their day was interesting and their days are interesting. But I felt like for some of the smaller people, I think his effect was very negative is because the lifestyle that we were trying to emulate. And I think those people are the ones that felt like they were the biggest ripoff artists. And so I want to make this dedicated to them. Because feeling like you're a hack is very consuming and terrifying. While a lot of people are able to benefit from it consciously, there are a fair few of us that are subconsciously consumed by it. And a lot of us are just trying to be creative and artists and are also consumed by the community. And I get both sides. But I think that when a narrative filmmaker makes his first couple of shorts, you don't really judge the rest of his work based on it. You still give him a chance. Just hope that we were all given the same thing. And for anyone that watches Casey's content and is a content creator, just know that you can't be them no matter what you do. the best way you can make your content is by being you. And where that might sound easy, it's not, because there's a difference between just being you and there's a difference between communicating your true self. And I think that after so many years, only now do I feel like I'm somewhat there. So thanks for watching. This is just a topic that I was quite passionate about, so if you did enjoy, just share the video around, just like, and if you seen someone that was a copycat, but like not like in a negative way, but it was just like a small content creator that was just trying to find his way, share him this video. I'd love to talk to them. And it's nothing really else. This whole video has been quite draining. I'll see you guys next Monday.